Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite time of the week. That's right, it is time for DBR on CBR. It is Dragon Ball Rewatch. And if you are watching along with us, we hope you're watching along on Hulu or Crunchyroll. And if you are reading along with us, we hope you are reading in the Viz Media official translation. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Episode 24, Krillin's Frantic Attack. Japanese viewers got this on August 6th, 1986. American, September 20th, 2001. We're adapting 3 chapters. We haven't done that for a while. Krillin versus Jackie Chun, of course, because Krillin's got a different name in Japan. The Big Fight and the Mysterious Jackie Chun. And yeah, we're in tournament arc. This is our Krillin versus Jackie Chun match. An interesting episode, this one.
I love this episode. I love this episode up and down. I love Nancy Drew Yamcha. I love the song and dance numbers. I love the slow-mo reenactment. This is such a great Dragon Ball episode, I think, in terms of balance of the action and the comedy. I think it hits it like right on the head.
There is a lot to like. That slow motion bit is them recreating the battle. Something I notice is with this tournament arc, each fight so far has had its own individual gimmick. Like Bacterian was toilet humor, Ran was sort of the panty jokes. The Yamcha thing was just Yamcha being Yamcha, and now this one has the slow motion gimmick. It's a nice way of keeping everything fresh, even though we are in this one type of fight. They don't feel the same.
Yeah, everything has got its own flavor, and it is kind of, Alex had mentioned the song and dance number. And at first glance, you're like, oh, is that something they just added to like prolong the runtime, like them having to take a rain delay on the Giran fight? And no, the song and dance number happens in the manga. It's just, yeah, it's this whole thing. He just can't, Roshi Chun just can't resist, the opportunity.
The song and dance number we have to talk about because I love the fact that in the American dub, he kind of keeps sort of verging into this Beastie Boys like cadence. But totally offbeat. But the Japanese one, if anyone's watching understands this, guy went through it. My Japanese isn't great, I'm going to be honest. But Roshi's song is very crude. He calls Goku a little girl. I think he calls Krillin a little girl, but he's pointing towards Goku. But he then mentions coming on my tractor and we're going to do the Obon festival dance. I presume there is a very specific reference there. So if anyone knows what that is, please, I need to know. I spent hours trying to find, is this a thing? And that's why everyone in the audience is so shocked. Not because he's terrible, because it's just a very weird song that references Roshi wanting to get with people and go to festivals with them.
I mean, the Obon Festival is real.
The Obon Festival is real, but I can't find any answers of that dance being the Obon Festival dance, is what he calls it.
I mean, the Obon Festival, and please correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, it's about venerating ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me is kind of wondering if this is like a sneaky, dirty joke about Roshi's age.
That's what I was wondering, because this is just after he got upset about being revealed as being still alive, which, let's talk about it, we all know that Roshi's been pretending to be dead for tax reasons. He seems the type.
Yeah.
That explains everything. Roshi was like, I'm not paying anymore.
Private island in the middle of the ocean. I'm not paying taxes anymore.
Died in a canoeing accident.
The IRS finds out, and like all these decades, centuries of back taxes.
The IRS hate this one weird trick. Become a kung fu teacher.
Yeah. I will say just about the song and dance. Goku during the song and dance, jumping in and starting to like sing along and moving with Roshi. I think that that's just so adorable because Goku still doesn't know that this is Roshi and he's just in for the meme. And I love that about Goku. Goku is here for the bit.
When I was looking into this, I did find a wonderful comment someone made on Reddit, of all places, where they pointed out that Goku does this dancing without any, he's perfectly in time, without knowing what the song is. And then Vegeta in Super does the bingo dance without knowing what it is, but he pulls it off. So basically implying that Saiyans are just natural dancers. Meaning in an alternative universe, they were the ballroom champions of the universe. It's just, unfortunately, they got sucked into war. They could have been peaceful dancing people.
I think I've told you my Saiyans are basically the Uchiha theory before. Like I have a theory that all Saiyans just have the power of the Sharingan without really realizing it. Like if they see something once, they can just reproduce it, and that's kind of
And
my theory on how they work.
next episode kind of confirms that. We'll get to it, but it does kind of prove your theory. Also, talking of weird things, we get Goku and Krillin's age here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which opens up a load of weird moments. Because, one, Goku points out Launch taught him how to count.
Yes.
Which I want to know which Launch.
I would hope I assume the purple-haired one that also would cook for everybody, not so much one that would shoot him in the face.
Well, that's the thing. You say because she's the motherly one, but Goku isn't very studious, so I imagine you'll need a good amount of force to make him sit down and learn math. It also opens up. She did the Dirty Harry thing to him with her gun. Like, did I fire 6 shots or only 4?
That's what I was going to say. Goku had to learn to count for his own safety. He had to learn how many shots were in that clip.
Well, I mean, remember, as part of Roshi's training regimen, they do have a dedicated. That's how Goku learns how to read and stuff. And I assume he learns basic arithmetic, presumably from Launch. And it's cool because it officially labels him at 12. And if you're reading the manga, available through Viz Media, at the beginning of the manga series, Bulma asks Goku what his age is, and he's like, "Oh, I'm 14." And she's like, "There's no way you're only like 2 years younger than me." And then here we are, and he's like, "Oh, I'm actually 12." We finally get that clarification. And then, yeah, we see Bulma react like, "Oh, I had no idea he was so young." That's kind of, if I remember correctly, this is way back in like episode 2 when this sequence happens in the anime. She gets upset at him over not knowing what so much like what a bath is or what like how to use doors and something like that. Whereas they don't cite his age there and they cite his age here. So the payoff is kind of weird in the Funimation dub because it's like, oh, well, she never knew what his age was, right?
Yeah. Bulma's delivery on that sequence is really weird because I always thought he was a lot closer to my age than that, which is just a very odd way of saying that because, like, surely of all the people who knows what Goku can and can't do, Bulma's the one who should think, yeah, he probably doesn't know how to count. But then she goes, just goes to show you think you know someone. That's not a line you say when someone reveals they have their age wrong. That's like you say when that's what you'd say to Jackie Chun when he reveals he's Roshi. Like, oh, you've been lying to me. He's like, no, the kid just can't count. You know this. You've dealt with him, Bulma.
Yeah,
you didn't understand. He didn't go to school. He only knows how to hit things good.
Yeah.
And even that sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool and it sets a baseline that's really, and I mean, I've written articles at CBR that continue to get updated about Goku's age. And it's all, when I think of the baseline, it's this episode that kind of informs that because it's the first time that it's accurately confirmed.
It is, and we get a lot of that whole start sequence is amazing for confirming a load of very interesting things. Because again, we get the interviewer, and I love the sequence with the interviewer because as someone who used to have to do like emceeing events with members of the public, I know the feeling of trying to keep someone on topic and trying to actually get them to where you want to go. And like Goku and Krillin just not playing with the questions at all because they don't know what's going on. We also get another shot of Goku's front, which is great if you're watching this with other people.
Oh, Goku. Goku's so immediately willing to take off his pants, and I'm very glad he grew out of that. Because in Dragon Ball Z, totally different issue at that point.
There is one episode I think of, or one still towards the end of Z, where Goku goes full commando, but we'll get there in about 200 episodes.
I do love how we still have one thing. It's a really nice little touch this episode is that we have people at the start still freaking out about the tail. And I think that's a really nice way of sort of conveying it is a big deal to the audience. Because obviously, if you're watching this at the time, you were waited a week between these episodes. So having it immediately restart with that, what's going to happen? It does sort of give this nice signaling to the audience that, hey, this is a thing you need to be paying attention to. It's important. We also get Oolong with his nice bit of accidental foreshadowing of that Goku could destroy the planet. It's like, Oolong, very clever.
Thanks, Oolong. Oolong has seen the future. I do want to really quickly give some credit to the announcer because he is like really he's carrying a lot of the comedy in this episode, and he's doing such a good job being like the straight man in everything that's going on, but still going with all of the ridiculous nonsense that it works really well, and I enjoy when the announcer gets to do more stuff.
Yeah, well done, Eric Vale.
Well
It's
done, Eric Bale.
the only thing I wish they'd kept is in the Japanese version when they talk about the microphone. He initially takes it as a joke and presumes Goku was being clever. And it adds this really nice thing of him getting gradually more frustrated as he realizes, oh, they're not messing with me. They literally are this, which I think is a nice twist.
Slow dawning horror.
I think like he thinks the two clothes are they're wearing the same clothes, like a weird bit, but it's like, oh no, they are these weird children that Master Roshi has sent for some reason.
Weird children from the backwoods.
So I mean, the fight itself, Krillin almost gets Roshi. Not
Yeah.
like I don't think he would have, even if he didn't rush at the end. I don't think he would have triumphed over Roshi overall. But he, in that one moment, almost gets the better of Roshi.
Yeah, well, by throwing a pair of panties out, which it's a very good tactic. Again, we operate on Taskmaster rules here, so it's not explicitly against the rules, so it's in the rules.
Yeah. It's what we like to call air butting, you know? Nobody said a dog can't play basketball.
There's no rules. Krillin can't compete in the World Martial Arts Tournament.
Yeah.
Can I point out two things about this fight that really caught me is that one, do you think the people who live around this arena are very annoyed by random martial artists landing on the floor in front of them? Because this keeps happening.
I think they're more annoyed by the fact that like giant kaiju-sized creatures show up and humongous energy blasts, even well into Z, devastate parts of the city, are just kind of fired errantly to keep people in fights or stir Goku into battle. I think those are the bigger concerns.
How much Zenny is homeowners insurance in the Dragon Ball universe?
I can just imagine a thing of like, insurance company, one's fallen through again.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to pay the premium for that. You have to pay a little extra for the martial artist insurance in West City or wherever we're at right now.
It's kind of like getting flood insurance in Florida. You have no choice, and they're going to jack up the prices.
Yeah, tornado insurance in the Midwest.
But
just part of the cost.
It's also cost of doing business.
There's also a fun plot hole here because when they sort of go back through, they're talking about, oh, Roshi spat at Krillin, and Krillin considered firing snot at him. We established Krillin doesn't have a nose. Where is his snot coming from?
That's one of the weirder things whenever I watch this episode, especially off the heels of Bacterian, which implies I watched the Bacterian episode more than once. The it's almost like a Ninja Turtle like lump that that can produce phlegm. So I don't really
he's like one of those fish.
Really I think for me, what I think is very funny about Master Roshi when he's going into the Kamehameha to send him back is how excited everybody gets about the Kamehameha wave, and then how immediately Yamcha has been gaslighted into still considering that, hey, this might not be like, this is just a psychological experiment on how much we can screw with Yamcha.
Oh, it gets bigger. You mentioned earlier, about Goku, not knowing that Jackie Chun's Roshi. I don't think him, Yamcha, or Krillin ever officially find out. I know Tien does because, that's part of that whole confrontation in about 30 to 40 episodes. But I don't think Goku or Yamcha ever figure definitively or like, oh, you were Roshi the entire time. I don't think that ever comes out.
I don't think it does.
I just assume there's this old man who looks suspiciously like Master Roshi who knows how to do the Kamehameha wave and is Jackie Chun, and then just kind of disappeared when Goku was 15.
We just spend so much
We've all
time
had older male relatives like that who just disappear when we're 15.
I mean, yeah, that's just normal. Like, nobody's teeth got left behind or anything. But yeah, it's so interesting I really do like these fights. I really like these fights. I think they're really interesting and they're really fun. I think the funniest part of it is when they're doing the reenactment and the announcer is going to flip Krillin And Krillin is like, "What are you trying to do?" And the announcer is the one apologizing, even though this is not his bit. Like this flows really well, and I just think the Krillin parts are the funniest parts.
It's especially, I think what makes it so funny is just how immediately the announcer goes into it. Like, and how Roshi and Krillin are just fine doing this weird reenactment for no, like, there's no benefit to either of them. And they're just like, yeah, we're in it for the bit.
Yeah. This is what happened, man. You had to have been there, and they recreate it, and, and the crowd goes wild.
These people paid good money for their tickets. They might as well know what happened.
I
And
suppose, but with the speed that of the Jackie Chun Goku fight, it's like, what exactly were you guys seeing?
I will
I also
just to cycle back your way Kamehameha wave thing. I agree. It's one of the biggest culture shocks going back to these episodes for me, especially because recently I did an article on all of these waves, and to go back to, it's had a moment like, why is everyone so surprised? Oh right, this is still like one dude's move.
Yeah.
This isn't something that everyone in his cat can do at the moment. It's so weird to think that like pretty much soon after this, it's just going to slowly escalate until it's just like the most generic move in the world that pretty much everyone has some variant on.
So
I think
going into the tournament, we as an audience know two people can do the Kamehameha wave. The public only knows one person can do the Kamehameha wave. By the end of the tournament, they know two people can do it. The next tournament, three more people can do the Kamehameha wave, and it's like, what is going on here?
I think like the Team 4-Star guys actually made a joke about this one time when they had Piccolo thinking about who could do the Kamehameha wave, and then he was like, "And that one time I tried it just to see if I could." Like,
Yeah. Here's a question. Who do you think is the most egregious Kamehameha? Like, when you see them do the Kamehameha wave, it just doesn't feel right. You're like, what are you doing, man?
There's got to be some like really obscure
I
one that's done it.
my answer to this, it's not Majin Buu, it's not Cell, because again, mimicry and cells and all that good stuff. It's when Trunks does it in the Bio Broly movie.
yeah, that's a
Oh,
bad one.
And you're
that's
like,
a
yo, why are you like, if your dad found out you're doing a Kamehameha wave, you are like not sitting down for like a month, dude. Like, where'd you like, you shouldn't be able to do that.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember what
but I,
game it is, but in one of the games, Mr. Satan has it, and that I remember even as a kid when I had that game, it bugging me because it made no sense for him to have it and ruined why I liked the character. Because like he's just meant to be this weirdo who just punches things.
Yeah. If Videl can't do energy blasts, certainly Hercule Satan should not be able to do them.
I'm trying to think. Like, I'm trying to remember the first time Gohan ever did a Kamehameha wave. And the
Ooh.
reason why is because if it happened any time before he trained with Goku in the Cell arc, makes no sense. He should really only have the Masenko at that point.
I don't think it is until the Cell games, frankly.
Yeah, so that I
Again,
think that they paid that much attention.
for him, yes.
But everybody else,
Every other random character we see, all
Yeah.
anybody who could sneeze correctly is able to pull out a Kamehameha wave at a certain point.
I
Uh,
do love the image that there is like, I guess it would be this, but there's like just some kid out there who watches this like in universe and just goes, oh, I wonder, and just blows a hole through his wall. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, you
turns
mean
out.
Goku that one time with that car?
Yeah, that's how you find out you're a Jedi. You can just see it and do it.
Okay, the real question, how many times when you were a kid did you try to pull off a Kamehameha wave?
And well, I never thought I could actually do it. It was the same thing with like Hadoukens because I grew up playing like Street Fighter 2.
Oh,
So
And
more than once is what you're telling me?
I mean, always knew I could never do it. That doesn't stop me. Notice I'm using present tense from doing.
I mean, it's like that there's that famous webcomic you see going around with a boxer trying to do it and the other guy just quitting. He's like, he probably can't, but on the off chance he can, I'm not risking it.
But
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
let's
But
see
yeah,
what
so
are the good
poor
stuff.
Krellin though. Poor
Poor
Krellin.
Krillin.
Poor Krellin's overall performance in this fight.
it's good. I think they do a really good job here of setting up Krillin as someone who did very well against impossible odds. There's a lovely little detail I like is that when Roshi chops him in the neck, which again, I do love that we are building up this idea of Roshi not going easy on the kids, but he's clearly, unlike Giron and sort of unlike Ranfan, he is going for quick knockouts. Like, it's a mercy shot. He's not toying with them very much. When he hits, he's going to go for the one-hit KO.
Sure
It's
is.
Yeah.
I
Look at
mean,
that face.
he could do worse, but I like the fact he says that, oh, he'll be out cold for a while, and in the next scene, you see Krillin is awake again. I think that's a really nice little signpost of like, Krillin lost, but he's still strong. He gets a good rub from being like, he did get back up. He didn't make the count, but he got back up quicker than he sort of Roshi thinks he will. It does imply that, hey, he's strong. Just no one's beating Roshi in this situation.
It
Yeah.
is also ice cold the way Roshi walks away from him after he gets knocked out. Like there's something just like really ice cold Clint Eastwood about that.
Yeah, it's like you can keep counting. It's not gonna happen.
Like,
Yeah, I
you're
beat that
done.
child.
Yeah, I kicked that kid's ass.
Now, I don't think it gets explicitly stated, but Krellin's a year older than Goku, right? So he's like
He's
13.
13. He says he's 13.
Yeah.
He says he's 13, right? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. And his height only incrementally changes over the next 6 years.
Hey, he doesn't go through second puberty like Saiyans do.
Yeah.
Come back for Dragon Ball Z to find out about that weird headcanon that came about on the internet.
It's such a nice little fight though. It does a lot. Again, having the recreation thing works so well for the rhythm. Also does mark an upgrade in the fighting a little bit. We are slowly introducing sort of more of the fantasy stuff with the high speed moves that go too fast to be seen. That's a nice touch, and it will sort of eventually this banding will break. Obviously, when we hit Z, it just snaps in half. But it is slowly escalating to having the more supernatural elements. But obviously, we are still quite grounded because the neck chop is a Bruce Lee move. As we've said, Tori, I'm a massive Bruce Lee fan. Of course, Jackie Chun will end by breaking Krillin's tiny little neck.
He's also clearly a Jackie Chan fan, and Jackie
Chun.
Yeah.
I think there's pictures you can find online of Akira Toriyama and I was about to say Jackie Chun and Jackie Chan like hanging out.
I bet there is.
Yeah, like
That's
during
really
the
cool.
movies and stuff. Which is awesome. Fun fact about Bruce Lee: the guy that Bruce Lee breaks the neck of in Enter the Dragon,
Yeah.
Jackie Chan.
Oh. See, now I'm just thinking about the fact that Dragon Ball as a franchise does not shy away from snapping the necks of children and continues to do that for quite a long time. Because it happens multiple times in Dragon Ball, and then it happens to Gohan like a couple times.
I think I wrote an entire article on CBR about how it probably traumatized him for the rest of his life. Like you can't.
I have so many theories.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it met. The franchise made millions of dollars. So if you're a writer right now and you're wondering how to make your franchise stick out, break a few kids.
Snap their necks.
That's the writing advice you need. If you have a kid, just get rid of them.
Yeah. Stephen King in it. I mean,
we don't talk about Stephen King in it when it comes to stopping children.
Fair enough.
Definitely not the books. Definitely not the books.
Don't Google it. Don't. Talking of weirdnesses and things living in your walls, can I point out that I love Yamcha watching this through the hole in the broken wall from last episode?
Yeah.
One, it's another really nice thing these early episodes have had is really good conservation of detail. So like when Goku breaks the wall, that wall remains broken for the rest of the tournament, and you see people using it as a hole to look through. But Yamcha isn't animated during that sequence. If you watch, he's just standing there looking the wrong way, which is obviously an animation error. But to me, that is the most in-character thing Yamcha could be doing. Just after the Jackie Chun thing, he's just there like having that all around me are familiar faces.
Yamcha is like so weirdly off model for most of this episode. Like there are places in the episode where his head looks like too small or his eyes are drifting into like two different directions. It's an interesting episode just because Yamcha doesn't get to be animated. He turns into Saitama from One Punch Man for a little bit.
Even the animators have realized Yamcha's on the way down. Like he's not worth the frames anymore.
The bummer, man.
The bummer. It's a big bummer.
So we've got one more fight. Well, one more fight for the finals. Any final thoughts on Krillin's horrible injuries?
I mean, it really sets the stage for him, right? I mean, the idea that, I mean, the first person that Krillin has to fight Goku in the second tournament. Krillin has to fight Piccolo in the third tournament. Krillin has to fight the Saiyans without Tien or or I guess Chaozu and Yamcha. Like he always, by the sheer nature of the threat, he always draws the short straw, and this is where it starts. So thank you for your service, Krillin.
Yeah, Krillin, we salute you for being what is known as a canary in a coal mine. And once you die in that bird cage, we know things have gotten real. Like I, like I said at the top of us talking about this, I think that this episode strikes such a good, unique balance between the comedy and the action. I think that like we've gotten a lot of great stuff of both in all the previous episodes, but this is the episode where I feel like it's hit like a very harmonious point in its existence. What about you, John? You
Yeah,
got any
I'm gonna echo
final
that.
thoughts?
I think it goes the same way. This is a lovely balance of action and comedy. Like the previous couple of episodes, this tournament has gone down so smooth. It's to the point it's almost hard to talk about because it kind of just you just get so immersed in it. It's very hard to sort of start picking things out because it's just fun. Like it's an episode I had to rewatch because I started watching it to make notes and just stopped. I just got so involved in the episode, really enjoying it. I got to the end, like, oh right, I was meant to be making notes for this, wasn't I? I had to go back, and I think that's just when someone who's already seen the I've probably seen this 10 times over my life, it can still pull me in, and I can still be like, this is just as exciting, and I'm still rooting for Krillin, even though I know in my heart he's going to lose.
Yeah.
That's really good writing.
But yeah, and with all that really good writing, we still have a couple more fights to go. And next time on Dragon Ball, we're going to be doing another semifinal fight. So we wanted to say thank you once again for joining us on DBR at CBR. That's right. It has been Dragon Ball Rewatch. We hope you continue to watch along with us on Hulu and Crunchyroll. And for my literary folks, if you're reading along with us, make sure you keep on in the Viz Media translation. Once again, we have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time on Dragon Ball.